company since 2009, based in Hollywood and operating day by Palm Beach and also Tampa. Talking about Tampa, we have Andre visiting us and joining us today from the Tampa office. I'd like to introduce the owner of C.A.R.E Construction, Jeremy Rafaelov, and he'll be presenting on the 4 R's of roofing. It is a very interactive presentation, so please, he loves questions, so just bombard him with all the questions. And we're here after to also answer some questions, and we have a few limited giveaways and also some additional information on the company. So enjoy your breakfast, enjoy the presentation, and don't forget to bombard him with questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about your roofs in general, right? Back a couple of years ago, we were dealing with a lot of people having to replace the roofs even though they're in still good condition. How many people, raise a hand, have recently replaced the roofs that were not really necessary to get replaced? How many people just recently replaced their roofs? So actually yesterday I was at a client's building that replaced their roof 2 years ago, and the association didn't want to spend the money. We're going to go over into details as to why. And they didn't install a tapered roofing system, basically where it allows the water sloping towards the drains. And citizens came back to them about 2 months ago and said they have 6 months to replace the roof, even though they just replaced it about 2-3 years ago. So first things we're going to talk about is. I'm speaking. So, mic is.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Why don't you come forward?
So we're going to talk about is roof repairs, maintenance, the restoration, recovery systems, and obviously a re-roofing system. So when you guys are replacing or going into repairs of the roofing, right, it's very important to do annual maintenance of roofing systems. So number one that we always ask our clients is whoever is doing the maintenance on your roof or doing any repairs on your roofing system, it's extremely important to make sure that they are certified with that particular manufacturer. By any raise of hands, does anybody know why? Because if you have someone that's not a certified applicator, that will null and void your entire warranty from the manufacturer. It gives them that loophole to say, well, that person wasn't certified to repair that roof, they're not an approved applicator from our certification, and even though you do have a 20-year workmanship warranty, it'll be null and void because they're saying that applicator was not certified by them. Another thing is also because the materials are different, right? Even though a flat roof is a flat roof, but everybody makes the materials a little bit different. So by putting someone else's material on a different brand, that also gives you guys a reason why your warranty can get null and void. So common sense, right, is the same way that you go ahead and do an oil change on your car every 5,000 to 7,000 miles. The same thing with the roof, right? Just because you just have a brand new roof and it's only about 3, 4, 5 years old, it's extremely important to always maintain it. Why? A, by the manufacturer, they want to make sure that in order to keep your warranty, you have to have an annual maintenance program on that roof. Because they want to make sure that, well, you have mechanical contractors, electrical contractors coming on the roof and dropping screws and nails and are dropping ACs that can puncture the roofing system, 90% of the people here are not going to be going on that roof, and they're not going to know what's really going on. So it's our job to help you by getting on the and documenting, hey, these are the things that we found on the roof to prevent from you guys having to replace your roof earlier than necessary. We call this the roofscapes. Basically, these are a lot of common things that we find currently on people's roofs that don't maintain. You have a lot of trees growing out from your drains, or if you guys have overflow or scuppers, a lot of, believe it or not, the debris from the roofs tends to start clogging the downspouts. And believe it or not, birds will drop seeds and you'll start creating trees throughout the roofing system. And that will start creating bigger issues onto your roofing project. Okay. Another issue that we find on roofing projects when people don't maintain is also parapet walls, right? A lot of roofing contractors will look at the roof because that's their main specialty, and they will not find, well, where's the water coming from? We've checked the penetrations, we've checked the drains, we've checked the scuppers, but they'll tend to forget the parapet walls. And 9 out of 10 times you'll find a lot of the leaks from lack of painting of your building. That's why it's extremely important to reach out to Regal so they can give you some good paint. But you want to make sure also that the cracks are happening, are being repaired. Otherwise, this will deteriorate your roofing system, create leaks, and eventually water within the roofing system. Another common thing that we find on roofs is your pitch pans, all right? Over time, when you're doing a modified bitumen roofing system and the pitch pans are filled with bull, which is a oil-based product, and over time it tends to dry out and crack. As you can see here with the knife that we stuck, that was just very lightly that we did that, and it literally, water was coming out of the roofing system. So things that we do now differently than most contractors these days is we won't not use the modified bull. We'll use with like a 2-part silicone product, which will prevent and easier to maintain roofing products, as well as Armaflex. So on your roof, when you guys are replacing the roof, it's extremely important, even though quote unquote it's not really the condo's issue, but it ends up being is that copper line tends to sweat. And the reason why you guys put that Armaflex there is to prevent it from sweating. So if it's not being maintained and you guys are not checking it out and making sure that it's being 100%, you want to make sure that you have that new Armaflex. And per code now, what they've done is instead of you leaving it black, which it is right now, they put a UV coating on it to prevent the deterioration of the Armaflex. Another thing that we've seen also is electrical lines, right? A lot of them, when we're replacing the roof, all they do is just replace the roof. They don't take a look at the copper lines and the condensation lines from where all the power is coming to the ACs. That starts to corrode because of the water filtration in the pitch pans. So that's something, when you guys are replacing your roof, it's something to take consideration. Well, do we need to change our conduit lines because that can cause water infiltration into your roofing system? So, roof lingo, it's not supposed to come out, but it does anyways. This is basically called alligating, all right? And basically what this is basically the asphalt from the thermal expansion and contraction and creates a pattern that resembles alligating. So if you guys see this on the roof, that means your roof is starting to break down and deteriorate, and we strongly suggest to obviously get it repaired by doing a coating system on top of it to prolong that roofing system. Can anyone guess what this is? Elephant ears, right? Why? Because as you can see, right, and we're going to get into coatings a little bit so you guys understand what's the difference between an elastomeric coating versus a silicone coating, if anyone doesn't know. But basic failure is basically when the membrane starts to curl and peel off, and that creates the coating to start pulling off the roofing system. With elastomeric coatings is a water-based product. So if your roof has ponding water, that's water that sits on the roof for more than 48 hours, that material tends to break down. And we have clients all the time that don't understand the difference between silicone and elastomeric, because at the end of the day, we understand that it's all about the price. And if you guys can save a couple $1,000s because, again, it helps for that special assessment, that's obviously, it's the roofing contractor's job to explain to you the difference. We will not use a elastomeric coating system because of that. It's basically us taking your money and seeing you in 3 years when we have to do it again and again. With a silicone-based coating, that can withstand the ponding water. Not only that, the warranty you will get does not exclude ponding water. With elastomeric, which is a water-based product, that warranty excludes ponding water. And again, most people don't read the fine print, and they're like, well, okay, great, we saved $30,000, but we're gonna have to spend $60 in 2 years. Blisters, right? What are blisters, right? Basically, over time, whether it could be air or water vapor that's trapped in between layers of roofing felt membranes, and that starts to create water evaporation within the roofing system. It starts creating lifting. It also creates, believe it or not, it starts permeating through the roofing system down to your concrete slab. And what happens is, when a regular roofing project should only cost X amount, now you have to factor in, well, do we have any concrete restoration on our deck that needs to be repaired because of that moisture that's been permeating the roof for so long? We've had a lot of maintenance people that don't understand what it is, and they'll just walk in it, pop it, and just walk away. And again, over time, the water is going to permeate through the roofing system and create bigger problems that you guys should have. So there's a difference between a bird bath and ponding water. A bird bath is basically water that sits in the roof for less than 48 hours and evaporates. Versus ponding water is water that sits on the roof for more than 48 hours. Again, it's extremely important. Again, cost, we understand. It's all about how much can we save the association because we're on a tight budget. But cheap pays twice, as they say, right? Over time, the water will break down the roofing membrane and cause deterioration faster. So if the contractor gave you a warranty for 15 years, that roof is not going to last 15 years. It's going to last a lot less because the water is going to break down the material. Not only that, if they read in the fine print, if you guys have ponding water that sits on the roof for more than 40 hours and you guys have a leak, that warranty that you so quote have is null and void because the warranty excludes water that sits and creates the problem over there. Fish mouths, again, over time, it's basically, if it's not installed properly, that will create a shift in the system and create water coming into the roofing system. And then critters. Believe it or not, we have seen some weird stuff on our roof projects where we tore off the roof and we found bees, rats, raccoons, you name it, and it's because of you have areas in the roof that these animals can get inside and start eating up the wood and start creating problems for your roofing system. So we're going to go quickly into roof restoration, unfortunately, and again, you guys can actually talk to plasterers about this at the way out. When it comes to roof restorations, citizens frown upon it. So again, I would speak with the insurance company before you guys go ahead and do a restoration project. But prior to this, about 3-4 years ago, before we had this whole disaster happen, warranties, coatings were the way out to prolong your roofing project, right? Instead of having to replace that roof, we were able to do a coating system, give you guys a 20-year warranty, and prolong it, longevity of the roofing project. Now, unfortunately, with this whole citizens and renewing, and they want a re-roof, not a restoration or a recovery system, we're finding harder and harder to be able to get this passed. but we'll go with a little depth of what a roof restoration needs to get done. So it needs to make sure, obviously, if it's a right candidate. So you're gonna have to make sure you do the proper bonding test to make sure that the material can adhere to the roofing substrate, number one. Number two, moisture survey test. Extremely important. Why? What happens if you have moisture within the roofing system and now you're gonna put a coating system on top? If it's a metal deck, it's gonna deteriorate the metal deck over time because now, great, the water's not coming in, but the water that's trapped in there, what's gonna happen? It's saturated in there and it's never gonna be able to breathe, it doesn't breathe properly, right? Two, you wanna make sure that it has the pairing of the prior application. So basically, if you have a silicone system previously, you need to make sure that it's a silicone product to put back. Because anything else, silicone won't stick to anything else besides silicone. And then again, you have a 5 to 20 year warranty, obviously depending on the coating system, whether it's silicone or elastomeric. Again, we frown upon elastomeric because, again, it's a water-based product, especially with a lot of these flat roofs down in South Florida. It's flat and the water's just gonna sit and break down the roofing system. So we're gonna go, basically, these are actually some pictures of projects that we've done. Failed coating systems. Obviously, we strongly suggest not to do coating, but our client was insisting on us to do so. This was a project in Sunrise Point Condo, which it was a 10-year warranty that we did a coating system for them, and it lasted only 4 years. As you can see on the edge over here, but on the edge, the metal was already rusted out. We gave them the option to replace it, and we gave them the option to do a coating system. Obviously, they chose the least cost project, and within 4 years, they had issues right away. This was another project that we did in Key Biscayne Condo. They didn't want to spend to go with a silicone product. They ended up going with elastomeric coating, which was quote unquote a 25-year warranty. It only lasted 7 years. So again, it's all about knowing the right product for the right building. It's not about just what is the cheapest price, what we get by. Our goal is to educate you guys so you guys can make the best decision. Whether we are selected or not, that doesn't make a difference to us per se. We want to make sure you guys are doing right by your building. So, recovery system. Again, I'll reiterate it. A recovery system, again, insurance companies still frown upon it because they want to see on that roofing application a re-roof when it comes to insurance. I've seen one case that we've just recently done that we did engineering test and we were able to pass it through citizens by doing the recovery system, but we had to jump through a lot of hills and battles to get it done. But nonetheless, it was able to get done. So in order to get a recovery system, there's 2 things that need to do, right? We spoke about the moisture survey, right? To make sure that there's no moisture trapped in the roofing system. As well as we want to make sure that we do a bonded pull test, which is basically making sure that the existing roof is adhered properly and it can withstand the second roof on top of the roof, all right? And then the benefits, obviously, cost effective, because you're now not spending any money to having to have tear off the entire roof. On logistics as well, it's a cleaner project, yes.
Can you just clarify what you mean between roof recovery versus restoration? I'm not sure.
So a recovery system is basically a roof on top of an additional roof. A restoration is a coating system, so elastomeric or a silicone product. Again, you can get a 5 to 20 year system, but with this insurance, I keep reiterating it, it's a case-to-case basis. And finally, but not least, is roof replacement, okay? What is roof replacement? Basically, tearing everything down to the concrete deck, inspecting the deck to make sure you have whether it's any spalling on the deck, any corrosion on the metal deck, any rotten wood on the deck itself, and then making sure that the right system for your building is selected, okay? We go through an extensive RFI, we do that for our clients as well. We'll come out and make sure, we'll bring different manufacturers out there to inspect the roofing system to see which will be the best fit for you guys. Obviously make sure that it has the proper right-of-way, as well as you're going to need to do a drain calculation and a wind load calculation. Why? You want to make sure that the current drains you guys have right now is sufficient for the new codes. Because what's going to happen, if you don't have enough drains on that roof, you're going to have areas on that roof that the water's going to sit and pond, and it's going to break down the roofing system. As well as the wind load calculations. The wind load calculations. Making sure that the proper material can withstand the winds on that roof. We replaced a roof that was done about 6 years ago, and the previous roof was installed 2 years prior to that. They didn't do the proper wind load calculations, and literally the roof in Pompano, it lifted up and it went straight into the ocean because they didn't have the proper wind load calculations. Warranty-wise, it can vary from anywhere between a 10-year to a 30-year roofing system, depending again on the association's budget. We have a lot of clients saying, well, why are we going to do a 30-year warranty if insurance is telling us that in 15 to 17 years that we're going to have to replace our roof? That's the common question that we get. And our answer is, well, we don't know what's going to happen. We have to do what's best for now. We want to make sure that we're giving you everything we can now, because we don't know what's going to happen in 2 years. So yeah, let's go with a 10-year, but who knows in 5 years we're going to say, well, we're going to be able to extend that roof system or not. And then preventive maintenance as well, which is an important thing for us. Again, like we said, annual inspections, so on and so forth. I'm going to go a little bit into what a moisture survey is so people can see it. So, moisture survey, back in the day, I keep on saying that, if you had less than 25% moisture in your roofing system, you were able to do a coating or a recovery system instead of having to tear it off. But if you guys have more than 25% of the deck that has excess moisture, no matter what you guys want to do, it has to be torn off completely, because insurance will not allow that. So this is an infrared camera that we have that tells us exactly where the moisture is located on your roof. We do this all the time for our clients when they call us out and say, hey, can you please give us a free consultation? We'll come out and take our infrared moisture drone and we'll do an aerial footage of the existing building to find the locations, if the roof has any moisture, and if so, where exactly is the moisture located, to see if we can prevent from either finding a leak or if the roof actually needs to get replaced or whatnot. As you can see, where you see the dark yellow area, that's where moisture is actually trapped in the roofing system. It helps us identify that. And this is basically the locations of the moisture map survey that we have. So we'll provide a moisture map showing you guys the location that you can have for your liking, and then give you guys an option what it's going to take to get the roof up to snuff, or at least to get replaced. So when we're doing a re-roof, the first thing that we do is we'll do a core sample. And what that core sample is going to do for us is basically let us know what do you guys currently have on that roof, right? So how are we going to know if the roof is a metal deck or a concrete deck or a wood deck if we don't look, whether we can see from going up these ladders or from the staircases, or we have to do a core sample to identify what you have. And what that does is it eliminates any future change orders, in the sense of a lot of contractors will not core the roof, give you guys a price to replace the roof, and then they'll come back and say, well, you guys have 2 roofs on here, here's the change order. So what this does is prevents that from happening. It also helps us to know what current system you guys have, as well as if there's 1 or 2 roofing systems currently on that roof. we spoke about this also, about the moisture, if it's more than 25%. And then, again, can't reiterate it enough about the annual inspections. It's really important. We've seen a brand new roof that we installed maybe 5 months ago, and they had an electrician company come, drop screws and nails throughout our entire roofing system, puncture hole. They called us. We just spent $300,000, $400,000 on a brand new roofing system, and it's leaking. Sure enough, we went up on the roof and we took pictures of the screws and the nails and the puncture of the roofing membrane from the AC contractors. They didn't care. Even though we put something called walk pads, right? But something that we found that even though there's a walk pad, a lot of people take the path of least resistance. And if I can go this way to get to that area, and it's gonna save me 3 minutes, I'm gonna do so. And that's why, again, when we do install a brand new roofing system, we strongly suggest for the association to take a name of who's going up on that roof, take their ID, and take a deposit. All right? I know it's a lot of work on the association's part, but that protects your investment. Who's going to go up on the roof after the AC contractor finished the work?